Hello, everyone, and welcome to another EdTALK Coffee. I'm your host, Hatem Radwan, and I'm very pleased today to be joined by Mohammad Chatila from Riyadh. Good morning, Mohammed.
Good morning, Hatem. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing in this
I'm
winter
great.
days?
Alhamdulillah. It's amazing, actually. I like this kind of weather.
Yeah. To start, actually, I've known Mohammed since almost 1 year. And throughout this year, I've seen Muhammad everywhere. I've seen Muhammad in conferences, I've seen him in exhibitions, with parents, with the students, with leaders, with educators, in the classroom, outside the classroom. So this reminds me before I used to work with a group of musicians, and we always had the notion of the one-man show. One-man show is a guy who plays 4 or 5 instruments, who sings, who make the full mini orchestra just in one person. So I think Muhammad is one-man show who wears very hats, and you can find him everywhere. And I'm so pleased to host you today, and I believe you are going to bring a lot of valuable insights to all the education community and stakeholders. So welcome, Muhammad. Tell us more about yourself. Where did you start and where you are now?
Thank you, Hatem, for this introduction. I really loved it. Uh, where did I start? I started when I was a student in grade one. All the way through grade 12, I was bullied. It wasn't like just students. I still remember one of the incidents when I was in grade 12. One of the teachers laughed when one of the students approached and hit me, actually.
Mhm.
Uh, the reaction of the teacher was unexpected. The laughter of the teacher, this indifference from someone meant to guide, actually, and protect, it stays with you. So, uh, I read the book of emotional intelligence to get over bullying when I was a student, and I had the opportunity that one of my friends shared with me this book, and it helped me a lot. I moved to university. I studied biology at the Lebanese University. I'm gonna come to this later because I want to highlight on how I wasn't ready for the university stage, and I found that the Lebanese University and studying biology major was the only opportunity I had at last because of the lack of awareness at that time. And I ended up as a teacher when I had a dream to become a doctor, but studying biology or science in the Lebanese university was very challenging. So I decided to stop at biology and start working as a teacher in one of the international schools in Beirut. Then I moved to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, where I continued being a teacher at also one of the international schools. 1 year later, I moved to another school as well as a teacher. Within 2 years at that school, I got the opportunity to be promoted to student life coordinator. I got this, and 7 years as a student life coordinator. And now, Alhamdulillah, I'm head of education and development at Wijha Training Center in Riyadh.
Mhm.
Through this, I became Google for Education certified trainer, Google for Education certified coach, and now I'm Google Educators Group leader of Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
I also, because learning is continuous and I'm always keeping myself busy in learning and development, I studied also by an ICF accredited academy, CCA ICF coaching for level one, and group and team coaching as well by ICF uh, ICF procedures and protocols. And currently, I'm studying or pursuing executive coaching, also with CCA. And I found that coaching actually is amazing. And I'm sure we'll get to talk about this in our conversation today. So this is briefly about me. And yeah, here I am. Thank you, Hatem, for this invitation.
And thank you for the honesty and this very honest reflection on how you started. Actually, it resonates a lot uh, in my own journey. Actually, I studied biology in the Lebanese university as well. I was not planning to be an educator, and things happened. I had no other choices. So you were speaking, and I was thinking about 20 years back around this actually. And let me ask you, Muhammad, throughout all this journey, was it planned? Did you want to become a coach, or it was a kind of responding to the changes? How do you
Okay.
describe your milestones? Is it planned checkpoints?
Actually, it wasn't planned, and unfortunately, it wasn't planned. And fortunately, it wasn't planned because there's a contradiction. But the idea is that moving from school to university, I had only one option, so I didn't plan it. Choosing to travel to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, this was the only option, but I wanted that change to move from Beirut to Riyadh, and I got the courage to do it despite the challenges and um, the being unprepared for moving, leaving parents with
Yeah.
all the emotional support needed. It was not planned, not prepared. Despite that, I moved on. I did my master's degree online, and it wasn't planned. I got my promotion when I was in my class. I saw like three people from the administration calling me in the class, and as a teacher, we're not allowed anyway to answer the calls. I went the class to end up, and people were waiting out of the door. Muhammad, the school director wants to talk to you. And at that time, the regional director was there. So I said, did I do something wrong? You know that feeling. And it was in the like in mid before the middle of the year. So did I do something wrong? What's going on? Everyone and I was having science class about static electricity, and I'm having the balloon all the day, rubbing it with my hair, and I look like I wasn't prepared for such moment in any way, neither physically by my physical appearance or even by being ready for such to hear it. I went to the office of the school director. I found four people, the HR regional director, academic director, and the school director waiting for me. Muhammad sat down with the smiling faces. I said, smiling faces. It looked like something. I still didn't have the Muhammad, as you know, we have I didn't know actually, but we have one person in the school leaving, and there's this position, and we found that you may be a good fit for that position. What do you think? Like this was my dream. It was something, yani, I would love to do it because I know its impact on the students, and I really love this kind of communication with the students. The student life coordinator position, I said immediately yes, and they said you have only 1 month for the transition because the person who is moving. So I'm connected well with my students, so it means that the students I was teaching for the past 4 months or 5 months, now I have to tell them I'm gonna move to student life coordination, and I'm not going to be your teacher. So you know this
Yeah.
feeling that you're leaving a but you really want that. So 1 month being trained, and Alhamdulillah, I've been the student life coordinator for 7 to 8 years, and then
Wow.
I decided to also move, which was also unplanned, to move to. I love training, and this is my passion since long time ago. But I never expected to become head of education and development in one of the training centers in Riyadh, because when I decided to leave the school, I wanted to influence bigger, um, um, more people, more students, more parents, more teachers. I felt that there's a lot I know, and there's still a lot to know. But what I already know, I want to spread it to widen circles. My school, alhamdulillah, was amazing. They supported me a lot, and they benefited from what I can do or what I was capable to do, whether it was student, parents, or teachers. And now I thought, why not bigger? And when I left the school, I had a couple of options, but I wasn't satisfied. I thought of like, let me go back to school again. I will tell the administration that I want to stay at school because the change was very difficult.
Mhm.
And I had a newborn, and I thought I want stability. I want the fixed salary. I don't want to be trainer anymore. You know that phase of fear.
Yeah.
I got that. I went to school to write an email telling them I'm gonna stay. And before sending the email, I received a message from my colleague in Lebanon telling me, Muhammad, I heard you're leaving. You're a big loss for the school. But listen, my friend's son is joining your school, taking over your position, and I want you to help him and to guide him. I'm gonna give him your number to talk to you. So I said, it's a sign, Muhammad, خلاص leave.
Yeah.
Leave. So the school asked me to stay one more month for September to do the training and to do the taking over. And at that time, I was also looking for more opportunities to see where I really belong. And in an unplanned also scenario, I was called over by a colleague. We started coaching together, and she told Muhammad, I have a friend. She want to ask you a question. And we were talking, she asked me a question, and the question went over for like a couple of minutes because we were aligned on our interests and the vision towards students and schools. And I ended up the conversation, okay, I finished my tomorrow or after tomorrow is my last day at school. I'm free on Saturday, maybe we can meet. She told me, really, you're leaving school? So I told her yes. And then I got an interview on Saturday. It wasn't an interview, it was a meeting on
Yeah.
Saturday. It ended up as an interview. They gave me the HR. They linked me up to the HR. We met, we agreed, and here I am. So if it was planned, it wasn't. But if you think of it, the journey I was put in, studying, becoming Google trainer for education, Google for coach for education, studying coaching, level 1, it was all يعني, helping me to draw this
Prepare you.
this journey. Yes, yes.
Muhammad, I really enjoyed listening to all of these. And, I would say, just from my opinion, even though everything was not planned intentionally, but I think unintentionally in your subconsciousness, you were ready. You were ready to join new doors and close other doors. And then this is always, I refer to it as the power of manifestation. You know what you want. You know what you want. And that's why you are here. Some people actually don't know what they want and they might stay in the same place forever, and sometimes they ask and why we are not having new opportunities. But when I met you, I knew that you will not stay in the same place forever. You are looking for something, and coaching, I actually is one of the most powerful things that someone can do to other person, because it's not in the context of education, it's in the context of human empowerment, supporting people. And I had the pleasure a few months back to had a session with you, actually, which added a lot of value. And you gave me some kind of ideas that actually I came up with ideas. You helped me get these ideas, and I'm applying these ideas. Honestly, it's the first time I'm reflecting on that. So uh, let's move into the topic of today's. And again, I respect the sharing that you have made for your journey. And before always, I believe we speak about some person, what you are doing in the present. It's always to give respect and validate the journey that they went through, because this tells a lot about the person. This tells a lot about the exposures. And indeed, there are a lot of ups and downs, failures and successes. But what makes the person successful is the experiences and the courage to go outside the comfort zone. And we have seen this in your story, Muhammad. So when you speak about coaching, which is our main topic now, so you are currently a coach. One notion about coaching is some people confuse between coaching and the training, and some might say it's the same. I'm getting a training on them, and nowadays the term coaching is becoming more popular, but still people don't understand the value of it and the difference between a coaching session and a training session. So before we dive deep into the school readiness, into the school life, and how we support teachers and students and parents, what's the difference between coaching and the training?
That's an amazing question. And unfortunately, there's a lack of awareness when it comes to coaching. Still, some of the coaches or who like to call themselves coaches, going on social media, trying to raise awareness while sharing their personal experience and generalizing some rules that may not really be rules. And this is not even training. This is just trying to influence people to get some numbers. And that at that place, and this started happening during COVID because many people started to get a high awareness on themselves. They found pleasure in that awareness, and they want to share that experience out of good intention, Hatem, you know.
Yeah.
But it turned out that people started buying on people's other and what they did and what worked for them according to their circumstances. But in fact, it might not work to me. When I try it, for example, I found that it's not working. So people started to not believe in coaches or those who are calling themselves coaches. But if you want to talk about real coach, you need to know who is that real coach. Where did he get his certificate from? Is the contract clear? Who is that coach? What experience they have? Is the topic we're discussing in the field of his interest or no? What's the niche of that coach? So there's a lot to learn from coaches, but a coach raise awareness in a conversation, asking the right question, and listen to what is said by the client, you know. And we don't coaches. If you are an ICF coach, you're not allowed to give advices, and you need to be aware of the code of the ethics and of confidentiality with the client. You need to tell the client about everything they need to know about coaching before we start into the coaching session. And we don't share information, but a trainer usually is sharing information. It's the transfer of knowledge. A coach is not transferring knowledge. A coach is helping the client. As you mentioned, something happened amazing, and you said you helped me come up with ideas that helped me when you were talking about yourself. So I don't give you the solution. I help you realize that there's a solution you can do and you can find out from our conversation. If I was a trainer talking to Hatem, I would have told you, Hatem, you can do this and this and that.
Yeah.
Based on theory, based on research, based on a training module. So it's sharing experience. As a coach, I don't share experience. I help the client explore the current situation and look to the future, to the vision, to explore where the client wants to be, where the client and what the client can do to achieve what they want. With definitely, it's an amazing journey for any client with a professional coach.
Interesting. And from what you are saying, Mohammed, I think the idea is clear. Training cannot be replaced by coaching, and coaching cannot be replaced by training. They complement each other. And let's go back to our ecosystem, the educational ecosystem. So do you see that coaching is a must, and what value coaching will add now? And before we head into that, do you see coaching as something effective and being implemented well in schools from your exposure and experience, or it's not yet being well implemented?
Thank you, Hatem, for your question. When I started studying coaching, and I was coached, of course, before, I started using coaching skills with my students and teachers and administration. I found huge difference, not only in the environment and but in my communication skills. This is number one. And then after I studied group and team coaching, because I was a student life coordinator, I was in charge of a team of students who are leaders, and we have objectives, we have things to do all over the school year. I started applying the group and team coaching, or the team coaching actually, skills to build my team, to make them stronger, to listen to each other, to discuss, to talk. And at the end of every team session, I ask how this conversation is similar to what we've used to be doing before. It wasn't similar at all, because we used to talk about issues without clear path taking us to solution.
Nice.
With coaching, now the conversation is changing and taking us toward the positive, taking us toward what could have been done and what could be done now. So it's taking us towards something we need to achieve. I don't see yet awareness about coaching in schools. I hope it will be one day. But here at Wijha, we started doing parent coaching. And in the last session, it was about social media relation between the children of the parents. And if you listen to the feedback after that, the parents wanted that conversation, wanted that, because one of the parents told me, Muhammad, we always talk about this, but we never found solutions. We never discuss solution. We always say, I have to do this. What happened? My kid, my son did that. My daughter did that. They just talk about the current situation, but they don't discuss solutions. But you know, Hatem, in a group coaching, one parent could have tried something, another parent could have tried another thing. They share together what have been done already, and they start learning from each other based on the coach questions. This is in parents, because when you talk about schools, I always think of parents, students, and educators, and also stakeholders and school leaders. So I want you to imagine Hatem now an empty aquarium, which represents the potential within our educational system. We have dedicated people, we have dedicated teachers, we have resources, but often it lacks the vital interconnected elements. So systems now needed for students and teachers should be found to guide the teachers and to guide everyone working in education to thrive.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you consider this aquarium as an ecosystem, inside it, everything inside represents something. For example, the decoration could be the AI that we are currently seeing and being overwhelmed by. The plants could be the oxygen, which is the emotional intelligence part, or the social emotional learning that many schools now are going toward that. To accelerate the process and do the correct link, you need that coaching I'm talking about.
I love this. I love the teacher
metaphor.
approach. The teacher approach, actually, because you make this visual in a way that anyone can understand it. Yes, I can't agree more. You know, we have the tools, we have everything together, but sometimes we lack the ability to connect the dots. And I can see connecting all the dots in this discussion that you had, Muhammad. And if you want to describe in one word, and here where I start challenging you, if you want to describe in one or two words what you do, what is that? You're focusing on what? Because, you know, it's a full spectrum of all members, everything around supporting. So what is one or two things at the core of what you do?
Active listening.
Active listening.
I listen. Now I listen more. And I not listen just to listen. I listen to understand, to reflect, and to ask the right question.
Interesting. And you know, I had a session 2 weeks back with Dr. Sakshi from India, and I wanted to wrap up the EdTALK Coffee session. And I told her, what one skill you want to share for educators and students to have? And she said, listening. She mentioned listening. And I was happy with that because, you know, usually we don't think about that. We think about what we share, but as you are describing it, I'm connecting those together that, you know, listening is data collection, is understanding. And this is where you have to start with. And this is actually, to your point, is coaching isn't about just sharing the knowledge, it's understanding the use case. And one more point I want to ask you, Muhammad, from your experience with AI and technology, and this is a new layer in our discussion. So coaching is something that can fit anytime. And I believe it supports every person because we all need coaching at some point. We all need someone to actively listen to us because we do have a lot of changes. Now, when it comes to technology and AI, living in a very fast changing era, how do you think coaching can support school readiness for AI? And I want this discussion to be even an invitation for schools that coaching can do something by preparing schools with AI. So, what is your perspective on that, being as well AI and EdTech leader and a trainer?
Amazing question, Hatem. I was writing a post on LinkedIn today. It answers your question. I was mentioning that last week, because it happened last week, I went to one of the international schools. I was in a conversation with an academic director, and I was talking. I had a ready digital transformation roadmap for the school. It was solid, data backed, practical, everything the school needs to move forward. And she looked at me and said, "This is great, but I want you to talk to the teachers because they don't want more homework." And Hatem, the roadmap wasn't the problem. The resistance wasn't the problem. The problem was that nobody had actually listened to where she is in her change journey as a director. And that's why when I approach schools, I don't just do a presentation and this is what I have. No, it's now about listening to what the current situation of the school, and you can't transform a school with a presentation. You transform it with a conversation, with the active listening. So um, if the principal or the school director or the academic director is resisting digital change, it doesn't mean they are resisting technology in general. They are resisting uncertainty. They are worried about teachers. They are concerned about the students, and they're questioning their own ability to lead the change, because a good leader worries about the teachers and how they are perceiving what new deliverable or what new product I'm putting on the table for the school. And if I was just a consultant, or if I was just if I have a product and I just want to sell, I would just tell them what to do. You can do this and this and that, that's it. But being a coach helped me to ask them what they need. Being a coach helped me unlock their thinking. And being a coach helped me build capabilities. And they like, that aha moment that comes into the when I'm asking questions, they realize I'm not here to sell a product or to just sell a service. No, I'm here to listen, and this is what they really love. And alhamdulillah, we were able to build a professional development program for that school, and we're working together, inshallah, at the beginning of January. So it's about active listening always, and about how coaching can really help. I hope I answered your question,
Yeah, you
Fatima.
did actually, and I love the positive approach you are taking towards describing how leaders, some might be resisting the change, because it's behind that there is a positive intention that you have shared that might not be visible maybe to other people. And sometimes we tend to put maybe leaders into two categories: the good leadership and those who are nostalgic, attached to the old strategies. They don't want the change, but behind that, what you are describing is actually something valuable that we might not see visible unless you speak with them and you understand that they want to protect their community. They don't want to rush into technology, maybe. They don't want to rush into new strategies before implementing it. But the reality, the hard reality, is that we can't do this any longer with technology and AI, because those were forced, in a good or bad way. They were forced into our lives, into our educational systems, into the hands of our students. So I think, yes, coaching, training, and all these aspects towards empowering leaders down to students and students up to the leaders is the best approach. And thank you, Muhammad, for sharing what exactly is needed to be done in terms of listening, active listening, human connection. And again, I always link that to human connection and the human connection. So the more we connect, the more we understand, the more we can reach out to solutions. One important point, actually, from an expert, I want to use this discussion with you to ask you about emotional intelligence. Now, this term is being used more often. People are having more awareness around emotional intelligence. But again, I always try to sit from the other side, the one who tried to be not negative, just more realistic. Uh, from what I saw, some titles remain titles because they lack implementation strategies. So, and one of the things when I was a well-being coordinator or positive education coordinator at school, I have realized that there are a lot of beautiful titles, a lot of things that we can share and discuss. When it comes to implementation on ground in the classrooms, very few happens or nothing happens. And this led me to a question that, there is a lot happening in the background in terms of research, in terms of looking for knowledge, but sometimes there is a missing gap between what is discussed and what really happens. And sometimes you end up having a classroom with a similar experience with the classrooms that were 20 years back, with all these awareness. When you speak about emotional intelligence, how can you enforce, how can you empower educators, maybe parents, to apply this? What are the strategies? What are the implementations? I know the value, but tell me how I transfer this value into actions in the classroom with some implementation steps. Sorry for this very long introduction around that,
No,
because
I get it because
I'm
I'm passionate also
curious.
about
Yeah,
emotional intelligence and I know exactly
because
where you're leading.
you are a practitioner, emotional intelligence practitioner, and you are the right person who tell us how to transfer this topic into actions in the classroom or even
Amazing.
outside it.
Okay, I'll start before also answering your question because it's an amazing topic. One of the researches I did about not only emotional intelligence but about the schools in general. I did interviews with 106 students, parents, and teachers in the community, and I was able to highlight 7 key areas where readiness gaps are most pronounced because we're talking about the readiness of students and schools in this era. I found out that the themes emerged were career readiness. People believe that there's an issue with career readiness and university readiness and financial literacy in academics sometimes and in self-management, social awareness, and leadership.
Mhm.
Self-management and social awareness falls into emotional intelligence, and this confirms that there's a challenge, a truly multidimensional challenge available, and we see an emotional intelligence gap. And
Mhm.
according to a study in 2021, over 60% of US college students met a criteria for at least one mental health problem.
Wow.
We're talking about anxiety, we're talking about stress, we're talking about pressure to succeed, and this definitely impact well-being and the capacity to learn. So, emotional intelligence is very important, and I can see now parents are seeking help to build a better personality for their students. So awareness is started building. As you mentioned, people are now hearing about emotional intelligence. When it comes to classroom, to a teacher, I'm proud that, alhamdulillah, I was able to read the emotional intelligence book when I was 17. I needed that to overcome bullying. And then I became, because I had this attachment to emotional intelligence, I did a lot about it. And I now I use for some of the clients or parents the emotional intelligence assessment, and we can read it together with the client to help them build a journey.
Mhm.
So when it comes, I'm talking about when I was a teacher. When I was a teacher, I had the listening skill and it grew, alhamdulillah, with coaching. I used to know and to believe that if I had 30 students in a class, the 30 students should get the information.
Mhm.
And during my master's degree journey, I learned about different styles of learning and I started applying a lot of things in my classroom. And I started noticing people who are not changing with despite all what I'm trying to do. I started noticing the pattern of students whose marks are still low or below average, and I started to talk to them. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. I found that I'm listening, and you hear stories from people what happening behind the doors at their homes. They needed someone to listen, and I found that I was able to support those people because I was a good listener, because I was self-aware about my emotions. I was able to communicate my emotions whenever needed. I don't try to cry if I was disappointed or if I was not feeling happy. And if I'm happy, I also express my happiness to people. I know how to label my emotions. This is also part of. So in a classroom, if a teacher is able to label their emotions, to come to the classroom and live the classroom at the moment, leaving everything outside the door, and being an active listener and being non-judgmental at all, and being aware of students' emotions and how they interact with you in a classroom, these are the skills help a teacher inside the classroom to build a healthy classroom, high averages classroom. Hatem, believe me, in one of my classes, grade 4 students, I had a class average of 98% in the classroom. I had a challenge to, I had two students there where they were the most challenging. I didn't let them feel that they are challenged. Instead, I helped them feel that they are listened, they are heard to. I started giving them, I started noticing their emotions, how they are reacting in class, until I found out a way to move them from below average to 90 plus. So at that time, I received a letter, a thank you letter from the parents, all grade 4 parents, um, mentioning how, alhamdulillah, yani how genuine I am as a teacher. And such messages are amazing because as we were talking before, we were not expecting such messages. We do it because we love
Yeah.
what we do. We are passionate about what we do. And we want that influence to be spread all over. So as a strategy in a class, we did that, but now it's time to start helping teachers to know how to do it. So building a professional development plan for educators, whether through coaching to help them know what is needed. Maybe a teacher knows about emotional intelligence, but
Yeah.
how to use it and what to do in a class, here comes coaching.
Okay.
Okay?
Interesting.
So
Hamad, I think you mentioned grade 4, and this is a very critical age, very critical stage in human development in terms of emotional development, social, intellectual development. That's why most of the focus at schools and strategies are put in this primary level, because you are shaping, you are changing the way they look towards life and they feel. But another challenging question I want to address here, you know, I'm aware about what you're mentioning, but when you approach a teacher who has challenges around completing the curriculum, around achieving the lesson plans or the scope of the subject, who had overload teaching hours with the duties at break time, with a lot of paperwork, this is the teacher's life, and you know better than me. And then we discussed together that teachers need to be aware every student's emotions. They need to actively listen to them. Teachers do that by nature, I know, but they have more things to worry about. And when I approach this, sometimes I've got the feedback that there are counselors at schools. There is a department who looks after students' well-being. So it's not our mission. Our mission is simply teach the lesson, make sure students understand, and prepare them for the assessment, prepare them with competency skills, etc. Now, how can you address those teachers, which they have a very valid point that it's not something I have to worry about? Why do I need to worry about the emotions of 25 students at the time I have 10 things else I need to worry about, including the pedagogy and students' progress and attainment?
okay, that's a very good question. I loved it actually. And there where comes the resistance of teachers to receive more information or to receive more guidance or to receive more do and not to do. And believe it, Hatem, if a school invests $1, and this is the research, by the way, $1 on professional development for teachers, they will save $11 for the future. And if your school invests in teaching, in helping or guiding or training educators or coaching educators, you will not need a counselor in your school. You will not need some. You will save that money to something else. And I believe, no, if I've entered the class, I'm responsible for the emotions of the students in my class. I don't feel that this is my class, and these are my students. I don't want to enter the class, share the lesson, and leave. I'm no more a teacher. I'm transferring knowledge, which is now available through AI, and ChatGPT can give you the same information. Now I'm a facilitator. I'm a human inside the classroom, and I've always treated myself as a facilitator even before AI existed, because I wanted to feel, and I wanted the students to feel that I'm there. You remember when I was bullied in the school, I felt the teacher was not there, and that was annoying. When I used to compare that teacher to another teacher, to who asked us to journal, who used gamification to teach us vocabs in English when I was in grade 4 student, when I was in grade 4, when I noticed what teachers sticked into my mind positively, and what did the teachers, and what, a negative link I have in my mind about that teacher, I felt I want to be the positive teacher who every single student will remember until in graduation, in class, in home, at home. So if I had that feeling, at least, and I believe if every single teacher had the same feeling to enter my class with high emotional intelligence, with coaching skills, listening skills, believing that I'm a facilitator, I need to help the student to learn, not just to share the knowledge, every school will thrive.
I can see the intrinsic motivation that you had. I can see the purpose, and this is a topic that I've discussed before in one of the talk sessions. The purpose. I believe we do have purpose as educators, but we are not the same.
Hatem, one more thing. Sorry for interruption, but I know and understand, because now I'm a parent and I know how busy parents are. And I understand the struggle, because now many parents are working parents, and the students are spending most of their time at schools. If this student spending all the time at school, no one is listening, no one is caring for the emotions. A teacher is waiting for the right time to ask a counselor to talk to that student. If I have 1,500 students in a school, sorry, how many counselors I need, or do I need to book an appointment with a counselor to speak with? Okay, we can have, if you help teachers to become coaches, or at least to know what coaching is, each student will be listened to correctly. They will not wait until more severe things happen for a breakdown, or for a teacher burnout as well. Because if you hear teachers, their struggles could be students, could be parents, could be
Workload,
school leaders, could be, yes. So why I'm leaving the teacher to be burned out, while I can put a plan to save the lives of everyone in the school?
And this takes us to the last topic in this discussion. I believe, Muhammad, the champion teachers, what you have showed, you have described is, again, you're being a champion teacher, and you've put strategies that you decided to put in your classroom. And indeed, and this is the answer I always say for teachers: when you do this, you'll have a better life as a teacher, despite whether you have the awareness around it or no. But once you start connecting with the students will connect with you back, and most of your struggles are going to be just fade away when you approach the students in that strategy. And this is where I want to move to the last topic, because teachers are not the same and they share similar and different struggles, different purposes. This is where we step a little bit into the leadership. And again, one of the discussions we had, the systematic approach at schools. Sometimes the schools just thrive on those champions. And whenever there's an event, we call Muhammad, we call this teacher X and Y because those teachers, they do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And because those teachers are there, other teachers are not doing
Mm-hmm.
additional stuff because they don't have to. And this is where I see the teacher becomes a little bit frustrated because I'm still a teacher, I'm still doing a lot of duties, but at the same time, I'm doing something more which I'm being taken for granted. So this is where we discuss always the role of policy and leadership in a kind of having a kind of consistent approach across teachers so that the student won't feel that Mr. Muhammad is way better than Mr. Hatem because Mr. Muhammad listens to us. Mr. Muhammad devotes 10 minutes in the session where he discusses with us about what we did in the summer vacation. Whereas Mr. Hatem, he came from the first minute, he started teaching us. He never listens to us. Even though Mr. Hatem is an excellent teacher, he's preparing us for the assessment, students start to
Mm.
compare. And this is the role actually of the leadership, I believe, where they prevent this from happening by a kind of applying a systematic approach. So, in terms of coaching, is there a system approach coaching for schools? I know that you already mentioned that for training, but what is your message for school principals and leaders in order to avoid what we described?
Amazing, amazing, Hatem. I honestly, I'm loving all your questions, and this question is like uh, very to the point because, as you mentioned, comparison is leading teachers toward burnout, and champions teachers are having a burden of sharing the knowledge and sharing what they do, what they did, whatever, doing the training sometimes in schools. And believe it or not, champions are lovely teachers. And I know because, and they reach that stage of being a champion because they are lovely with everyone.
Yeah.
But some teachers will not listen to those people, even though, look how he's talking, look,
Yeah.
sometimes because some
He's your
champions
colleague
are young.
because this teacher is your colleague. At the same time, you see him sitting in the stage trying to teach you something. So it's a human
Yes,
nature.
yes, 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 yes. And sometimes the champion Hatem is younger than the more
Yeah.
experienced teacher who spent a lot of time. And I've
Yeah.
heard it from people I know or from other champions. They say that, look, they heard people saying, look, this is the young guy who just graduated. He came to teach us what to do or to tell us
Yeah.
what to do. We've been teaching for 5 years or 10 years, and now I'm gonna not gonna listen to this. So they sit with the resistance, aslan, to listen. And my advice for school leaders is use group coaching with
Mm.
all the team members, or team coaching or group coaching. I'll tell you the difference between them because it's good to know. A team coaching is for a team. So if you sit with everyone in the school at a team and to coach them, to listen to them, to know their struggle, their challenge, their objective, and put it on a table, you will achieve your objectives, and everyone is happy because everyone had the opportunity to talk.
Mm. Mm.
While if you just call the champion teacher, my impact, sometimes you miss opportunities because you didn't listen to everyone.
Yeah.
You just because, and Hatem, sometimes by chance or by luck, a champion teacher becomes a champion teacher. It could be a class visit that
Yeah.
was well prepared by a teacher. It clicked with the director. Instead, in parallel, another teacher could do the same class or even more
Yeah.
prepared. No one will see that
Yeah.
in class, you know? So sometimes if you give the opportunity to listen to everyone in different circumstances, not just judging teacher for one mistake, and not just overwhelming teachers, and not just inviting teachers for evaluation once a year and tell them you did this, you did not, you need to listen.
Mm.
And in evaluation, you need not to judge the teacher based on what happened, based on the progress. How is the challenges that we recorded on that teacher are being addressed by that teacher? This is how you should evaluate. Not you did this, you did that. You're not helping me as a teacher when you put all my mistakes on the table. I do mistakes. Every
Yeah.
teacher do mistakes. Not because we want to do the mistake, but because we're a human being.
Yeah.
But if we're looked at as a teacher as angels with no mistakes, and On one single mistake, you come, you did this and that. And later, some of the people, they will not forget that mistake. They will
Yeah.
bring it in every meeting, in every promotion request, in every raise request. You did
Yeah.
this. I changed. I changed. I working to change. You're pulling me back. You know? So, and one more thing is that sometimes you need to bring that trainer from outside of your school because teacher will listen more.
Yeah.
And if you're always giving that teacher champion a role of teach, train, they might hate themselves for being, they might love it. And because some people are motivated by people, but at a certain point, it will drop. The motivation will drop
Mm.
because it wasn't guided well, it wasn't coached, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope I answered your question as well
No,
again,
no,
because I think I tackled different points, but I felt they line up in one.
you are pinpointing actually reality, and this is what I love about EdTalk chats, because sometimes we cannot just make the reality more beautiful. We have just to speak about what's happening. There are struggles. Research
Mm.
tells about the problems schools have nowadays, which were different than the problems we had before. Some of them are the same. What is what we cannot deny that um, teachers need support anytime and all the time. And thank you for bringing all of these aspects together, because at the heart of that is how we support teachers, whether through coaching, whether through a kind of systematic approach, whether through understanding them. All of these aspects are important to support this difficult career that sometimes start with passion, ends up with burning out. And I have seen many teachers looking for another jobs, because not because they don't love teaching, and always we say it, once a teacher always a teacher. It's in their personality, because they are not heard, they are judged sometimes, all of these
Mhm.
aspects. I'm happy that there is a lot of awareness happening nowadays, and I'm very optimistic about where education is going. So what about your feelings about where education is heading?
I'm also loving the change. I'm also loving the awareness. I'm interested in the awareness now that it's not only about digital transformation, it's also about the human. So I cannot just give you a tool to your school and go. No, the tool is everywhere. The tools are everywhere, but the human is irreplaceable. And I always say, because once AI emerged and we started AI replacing teachers, the AI future jobs are going away. I say to teachers, AI will not replace you, but a teacher knowing AI well and knowing how to utilize AI well in the classroom will be replacing you if you do not move with the flow. And I can see now a lot of people are interested, a lot of teachers or educators are interested to learn more about AI, especially when you find the right person to address the challenges and to find the solutions tailored for their needs, as I mentioned. And how you know the needs? You need to ask coaching questions. What is that you want? And listening to the teacher and give them the right solution, you will hear amazing feedback. In the last training, 2 weeks ago, I had a training for teachers. They called me and they told me, Muhammad, since you are a Google Workspace, you help in digital transformation when it comes to Google Workspace. There's one thing that Google cannot do, which is creating report cards. And I sat with myself like for 3 hours to 4 hours. I came up with a solution using different tools of Google, using master sheets and doing some tips and tricks. I was able to find a solution. When I went to the school doing a training about, it had a title, the training, which
Yeah.
was talking about Notebook LM and Google Gemini for education. I added a section for the training talking about how to create report cards and saving time for teachers in one masterpiece with collaboration with different teachers. They were, huh? Okay. So now, so it's all about listening, training teachers, educators, school leaders based on their
Yeah,
needs. That's it.
excellent. One size doesn't fit all. I'm happy. I don't want this discussion to end. And as I always say, the session that we do in EdTALK Coffee is mainly about bringing ideas to life, opening some, let's say, doors of thoughts on those who are listening to us. What's more important is completing the discussion, progressing in the discussion, and all the topics that we have shared. One last reflection I will ask you, and I will leave the last words for you. If you meet Muhammad, the student who was bullied, uh, if you meet him now in one of your classrooms, how would you support him?
If I meet him in oh wow, I would
If
love
you
to meet
you,
him.
you go back to that moment where Muhammad was bullied in the classroom, and you are the new teacher now, and you went to his classroom, and you saw him being good, how would you support him?
I would just ask him one question. What's going on with you? What's happening? Why you're like that? Why I can see that you are not really happy at your stage. What's behind this being the victim and being bullied all the time? So tell me more. I'm here to support you. I'm here to listen to you. I'm not going to judge you. Just tell me. And if I had the opportunity to see him to tell him something, I will tell him, be patient. You are drawing an amazing journey. So just be patient, and I'm very proud of you, and I will always be proud of you.
Thank you, Muhammad. I would love to end this discussion with these words because I think it's not too much to listen, to approach, and for everyone thinking that approaching emotional intelligence, human connection is something that requires a lot of certification, requires a lot of time. For educators, I would say these few simple words from honest intention can make a big difference. So thank you so much, Muhammad, for
Thank
this
you, Khatem, for this
reflective
opportunity. Thank you.
session.
We were
Yeah,
able to make this happen.
yeah, exactly. And looking forward for more collaboration together and all the best for you. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Khatem.
Thank you.